In today's video, we're going to look at the overall market once again. I'm going to be sharing with y'all some stocks to keep on watch for this week. There's going to be a lot of stocks reporting earnings, so we're going to get you ready for tomorrow. Alright, y'all, let's dive right into the charts. Right off the bat, we got the NASDAQ. We're going to use the NASDAQ today, all right? And so far, we're still trading near all-time highs. Again, it's very, very dangerous up there, all right? And the candles are getting smaller relative to, I'm talking about like the previous few candles. It starts large, and then it gets small. Tomorrow, I think that candle is going to get even smaller. I don't think we're going to get above 17,800. We might see another doji. And then volatility is going to really kick in on Tuesday. All right. Now, are we going to keep going higher after Tuesday? That's really hard to say. It's really, really hard to say because this is not the first time that the NASDAQ has moved this way and proceeded with a potential pullback. Like y'all see, there is the first push right there, and then we have the first top, right? We go down, and then we don't fully break below 17,250. We kind of make this like other rebound, which is very similar to what we've seen over here, right there, and right there. All right, and these small candles that I'm expecting tomorrow will be similar to these two right here. All right, now about this one, I'm not sure. We're gonna have to, again, that's why I make these videos on a daily basis, to update you guys based off of what the market is trying to tell us and which way we're going to go. So proceed with caution and approach the markets day by day. Let's look at the VIX. With the VIX, that one is still fighting really hard to stay above 1350. Set an alert. Have an alert set right at 14.5 again. All right. Because the first candle to really break through here and close above this neckline right here, the follow through after that will be massive. So just have an alert set right there. All right. I'm not saying for sure that the market is going to sell off and this is going to happen, but it's what you have to be ready for. You never know. You never know. Right now, it's just chopping in this zone. The VIX is chopping in that zone. Eventually, it will make up its mind. Right now, the indices are are down a little bit. All right. Just be ready. Be ready for the VIX. Now, the first stock to look for tomorrow. That stock is reporting earnings in the morning. All right. I want y'all to be very cautious and look at exactly how it opens. The stock itself is already overvalued. Again, it moves in this range right here. Right here. And it's almost at the upper level of that range. So to be bearish right now, I think would be premature. I think there's going to be a retest first of that upper line before we see a pullback. So for tomorrow's earnings, I'm not gonna lean bearish on it. I think the reaction is going to be positive. And if it is positive, like let's say we open up at 305. If you open up at 305 here and make a fresh new high, expect a massive push out the gates. Set an alert, people, and most importantly, that first 5-minute candle tells a lot about what could potentially happen throughout at least the first hour of the day. All right, so just set an alert right at 304, and there could be a potential push all the way up to 310, maybe even 312, to test that upper line of resistance before we potentially see a pullback. All right, so that's the first stock to keep on watch for tomorrow. The next stock to look at for tomorrow, that one is looking decent. It's Shopify. All right. Now, Shopify overall, it had its run. It had its run since the lows of 46. Right now, it's at $82, and it's refusing to collapse. It's refusing to collapse right here. Like I tried here, and then they tried again this week right here, and a lot of shorts got trapped in this candle right now. All right, and looking at the volume bottom, the volume is increasing. This is not the cleanest morning star because there isn't an obvious downtrend. The combination of these three candles is not a clear morning star. Like a clear morning star would be if that appeared. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah, something like that. These three right here, 1, 2, 3, after a big downtrend. All right, then usually what tends to follow is a big spike up here. But with this one, it's gonna chop in slowly sideways, but I'm leaning bullish on it. The level of resistance to watch for, especially for a break, is at exactly $83.50. It's looking like, actually, it's looking like a bull flag, maybe like a megaphone pattern that is about to break. And also, if you look on the left hand side, there's a little gap to fill somewhere. Yeah, there's a little gap to fill right here, and another one at 102. I would be shocked if we got to 102 really fast. But the first gap to fill is right at 86.50, and it hasn't even gotten filled yet. Like it tried to throughout the last month. It tried to. But to fully fill that gap, you're gonna have to break above this level of resistance, which it has formed as it was cooking sideways right here. So watch this one for a move up to $86. It has earnings coming up on the 13th. So that's definitely something to watch for. A lot of tech stocks have had the tendency, especially like last week, a lot of them has had the tendency to do well because looking at a big picture, especially on the weekly, they're undervalued. They've been sold off for quite some while, and a lot of them are trying to recover, and some of them already recovered, but not all of them. So there's still room for this one to the upside. So keep Shopify on your watch list. The next one that we're going to look at is Palantir. All right, and Palantir is also in the same predicament as Shopify. There is one thing that worries me a little bit. I don't like it when there are gaps that aren't taken care of before a potential huge move. And what I mean by that is that there is this right here on the left between 1573 and 14.9. This one is reporting earnings after hours tomorrow, right? So I want to lean bullish on it, but that gap is making that choice a bit difficult. I want it to get taken care of. Like best case scenario is we see a drop all the way down to like 14.6, and then the whole day we just see a massive candle up, kind of like what happened to Apple, which I warned you guys about in the last video, because Apple dropped just to take care of the gap below. Let's look at Apple again. I told you guys it wasn't gonna stay at 80 for too long, so this is what I expected for Apple right here. It opened up at 180, took care of the back of the gap, and it just ran. It had a all-day grinder where it just kept going up and up and up. It didn't quite make it to 188, like I told you guys. It only made it up to like 187. But there's still a little bit more room to run on this one. And the volume at the bottom is huge. So I'm expecting something like that to happen for Palantir, where it opens really low, and then it shows an entry opportunity to the upside, where we see this thing recover massively. So keep Palantir on watch. Now, the last stock slash sector that we're going to look at, the Chinese sector, BABA specifically. All right. Now, with BABA, that one had its island gap reversal. Previously, I mentioned a video on this one. I thought it would do a lot. I mean, it did exactly what I told y'all it would do. I gave y'all a warning that this one was going to spike to 74. It did, and then after it did that, it just went sideways for days. All right, it's chopping sideways until earnings. I don't think this trend is going to change until the day of earnings. If the gap at the bottom gets filled, which again for island gap reversals, those gaps that get like left behind for weeks and months, maybe even years at a time, right? So I don't really expect this one to get filled. So I'm gonna lean bullish on it because if you look at the weekly chart, like the stock has been through a lot, right? And it needs something. It needs a little spark. It needs some life. And I think that earnings that is coming up might just be the one that pushes volume into the stock and pushes it higher. I'm trying to see if there's a bull flag on here. I think there is. There might be. Right here. And yeah, there might be. All right. Again, the longer it consolidates in here, the better, especially for those contracts. And since this earnings is pre-markets, the IV is gonna be a lot less. It's not, the contracts are not gonna be super inflated. Kind of like what we've seen with contracts that have earnings and after hours. All right, so keep the Chinese stocks on watch for a potential long. All right, and that is my honest thoughts on all of these stocks, and that is the end of the video. Don't forget to annihilate the like button. As always, I release these videos from Sunday to Thursday at exactly 10 p.m. Central Time, so definitely click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you whenever I release these videos. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, you can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media at Paul and Guma and at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X. And lastly, to get some free stocks with Webull, you can use the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in tomorrow night's video.